Welcome to the October Paint-A-thon. My name is Mary Corrado. I am from Portland, Oregon, and I have my own business, Mary Corrado Designs. I have been doing interiors for years, and now I'm involved in painting furniture with Amy Howard's products. I have been a part of the Amy Howard community now for a few years, taken many courses, and it has absolutely changed my life. So today, for my part of this video, I'm going to show you how to turn a lamp into something better. I mean, it's still going to be a lamp, but it's just taking it from off the shelf. Pretty cute, really. But it's, it's from a big box store and was very inexpensive. It was on sale and it's cute as can be, but it looks plastic, which it is. So I'm going to show you how to paint it with Amy Howard's one-step paints. We're going to age it and make it look more like a kind of a grayed out barn finished wood. With anything that you're painting, we always have to start with our clean slate. Now, clean slate, this is a solvent that gets any grease, any dirt, any fingerprints, anything that could possibly hinder the adherence of the one-step paint. We always, no matter what it is, always clean with one step. What I'm going to do is turn the camera down. I'm going to show you how to do it. Here we go. A lint-free rag is always recommended. And just saturate your rag enough that it actually gets the piece wet and cleaned. And I'm not going to probably see a lot. This is a brand new little lamp base, but it still will get any grime, dust, fingerprints, waxes or grease or whatever could be on it. Actually, there is a little bit of dirt, so it's always a good thing. So now that we have this perfectly cleaned off, we also want to dry it. So I'm going to take another rag and dry this off. Let's get started. I am going to start with a dark base called A Good Man Is Hard to Find. This is Amy's one-step paint. Let's get the can open. I'm going to pour some into a cup. It just keeps it a little bit easier to work with, and if it feels a little thick, which this looks a little bit thick to me, I'm going to add some water and thin it out. I'm going to use Amy's 1.5 inch brush. Let's give this a stir. We are just going to apply this over the whole surface. We want 100% coverage. We do not want holidays. And if you haven't heard that term, holidays means spots that we've missed. Okay. You should just start painting. If you have never used Amy's one-step paint, it is absolutely fabulous. It has no VOCs, it's all natural. It smells wonderful. You don't need like ventilation. You don't have to worry about any of that kind of thing. It's great. It doesn't usually, it can go on in one coat, but usually you need two. It's called one step, but it doesn't mean one coat necessarily. And this has thinned down. So usually when it's a little bit thinner, be careful of runs, but you also can alleviate a lot of brush strokes when you thin your paint down. So it's actually pretty easy to do. I'm just going to lift this up. And I do want to paint the little neck here, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint that gray. Once we get this all coated, it should take only about 20 minutes to dry, and we will be ready for our second coat. You can dry it by just letting it sit there, or you can use a heat gun or a blow dryer, and it should work just great. Goes on pretty quickly. We're almost done. Then we'll dry it up and we'll move on. Awesome. Let me show you. There you go. It will dry flat, so I am going to let this dry and we'll move on from there. Okay, we have gotten 2 coats on, and I just want to show you how it dries, and it dries nice and flat. Really, really pretty. And I'm not sure if you can see, but see how the lamp itself has kind of a rough finish to it? So what I'm going to do is try and emulate that with some paint. Emulate the way this is the white wax in the, this is a real piece of oak that has been antiqued. And I'm going to try and emulate that a little bit on this. It won't be this defined and this striped because this is an actual piece and this is actual grain. But this has a little bit of a texture to it, and I think if we dry brush and go over this with some lighter one-step paint, let's do our best to try to imitate that look. So I'm going to turn the camera down, and to do that, I am going to take some Amy Howard Almond Daze and a little bit of my original Good Man Is Hard to Find, and I'm going to mix it and dry brush it onto here. Just going to add some to a cup. Not going to need a lot. I'm going to add a little bit of the gray just to tone this down a little tiny bit also. Then I'll just take my gray brush and stir it all together. And now we have a light gray that I can work into the lamp. Okay, so here's Amy's chip brush. I'm going to start just dabbing my brush in and offloading. Because I don't want too much on here, I'm just going to start by dry brushing and see if we can't bring out this texture. You see how that's doing that? So that's exactly what I want. So continue to dip just the ends into your paint, offload it. This is cardboard, so I'm just offloading on the cardboard, and I'm carefully going over the lamp. This is a really nice way. Now this obviously works because it has the finish, but even if it didn't have, or it has the effect of the wood grain, but even if it didn't, you can still produce this just by a dry brush and the 2 colors of paint. Let me hold this up and show you. Okay? I'm going to start working on it this way so I can see it as it's standing upright. add as much or as little as you are comfortable with. Make sure you get all angles. Now, if you find that you've got some areas that ended up being too light or just kind of blobbed on and don't look super natural, don't forget you can always go back with another dry brush and you can dip it into your original A Good Man Is Hard to Find, and you can go right back over it. So don't feel like you're going to make a bunch of mistakes and you're stuck with it. You can always fix it. Okay. You always want to kind of look at it from a further distance. Oops, I missed this area, so let's get this done, and then we'll kind of assess. So always step back, look at your piece. A good rule of thumb is to double check. It's called oval eye track. What you want to do is you want to track your eye all the way around the piece to see if you stop anywhere, and if you do, does it match up anywhere else, or is that where you stop? If that's where you stop, then you want to take care of that area so that it doesn't just jump out at you. Back with a little bit of my Good Man Is Hard to Find. Nice dry brush, and I'm going to tone down this neck. Oops. Okay. Let's see how we did on the finish. Pretty much everywhere. I'm going to add just a little tiny bit more lightness. Here and there, just to give it a little bit more dimension. There you go. So it's much lighter, grayer. It looks really pretty. So let's let this dry, and we will come back, add a little bit of light wax and dark wax. So we'll be back. Okay, from here, our lamp base is dry. It is perfectly matte. And now we are going to continue to add some dimension to this with Amy Howard's light antiquing wax, the dark antiquing wax, and some Dust of Ages. So let's start with the light antiquing wax. It comes in a puck just like this. You take your brush and you load the wax onto your brush. So offload onto some cardboard. You can feel it on your brush, and you are going to carefully just apply it, just brush it on carefully to your piece. Now just do the lightest twist of your wrist and brush it on. You'll feel it on there. You want to cover it everywhere. Also, just feel
you're not sure if it's getting on there, because you can't really see it, just feel it. Always load up and always offload. Okay, just keep working. Just feel it. I'm making sure I can feel it everywhere. We are going to want this to dry. It takes about 20 minutes for it to dry. And you'll know it's dry when it comes to tack. When it comes to tack, it won't feel as greasy and it will be a little cooler to the touch. So you can use a blow dryer, you can just wait, you can fan it. I'm just gonna run the blow dryer over it real fast. Now let's take our dark wax brush. Let's load up. And offload. This we are going to hit in like the high areas, the places where maybe it would have gotten a little more dirty, places that would have been touched a little bit more. So this isn't just everywhere. This is specifically in areas to highlight the carving, to highlight the edges, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to put this down. I'm adding it to the base and the corners. Adding it here around this base. I know the camera doesn't always pick it up, but I'm going to try and hold it up and see if you guys can see this. Okay. It adds so much. It's awesome. Don't be afraid to use it. Just kind of practice when you use it so that you don't do too much. Okay, I'm going to add it here. Sorry, my camera, it's a little bit difficult. I'm going to show you from here if you can see this. I don't know if you're able to see how it's just kind of highlighted the base. I'm going to do just a little kind of in this bulbous area. Might have been touched a bit. Adds a little warmth to the color. And all around. I want this to come to tack also. And then we're going to add just a bit of Dust of Ages, and that will give it a little bit of a more aged, a little bit dusty feel. It'll just make it look as if it's been sitting for a while. It's older. It's collected some dust. But I love the Dust of Ages. I think it really adds a lot of texture and dimension. And a light, slightly different color to it. Okay. Let's let this dry and we'll come back with the dust. This has come to tack. Here we have it with the light wax and the dark wax. Let me show you quickly how to add the Dust of Ages, and then let's move on and do a little something with the shade. I think it'll be fun to add a little something on the shade to just kind of set this lamp apart. Okay, so stick with me. Let's do the dust and then we'll move on. So with the dust of ages, it actually looks like dust. You take your dust brush, dip in, and go around and add the dust. You can be generous with it. It will be brushed off or ragged off, but it does help with the finish a lot. So don't be worried about getting too much on there. I like to brush it everywhere. Do wear a mask if you need one. This is clearly very dusty. I also take my extra that is all over the table, and I can pick up my paper and put it right back into the dust. So this does last a really long time. Okay, we have it ready to go. Let me get this out of its way. We take a clean rag and we're gonna start with a hit drag motion, like you're buffing a shoe. We're gonna start to buff this off. What this will do is this will get down in the crevices. This will get along the edges, the rims, where dust would have naturally collected. And it just helps to continue to age the piece and make it look that much more authentic. Now this little sail lamp is looking pretty fabulous, like something you could buy that is a real chunk of wood that has been aged. It's awesome. It's incredible what you can do with some paint and some wax, some creativity, and some dust. There we go. So as you can see, I am painting a band around the lampshade. I put my first piece of tape, another piece of tape, and a third piece of tape, so I knew it lined up perfectly. Pulled off the center piece, and now I'm just painting away. So this is a way to give a lampshade a little bit more personality, and it will match because it is the same color as what I was using on the lamp itself. This is a good man is hard to find. And in case you aren't aware, you can paint fabric with one-step paint. You can, anything that's upholstered, as long as the nap is not too fluffy or too furry. Like chenille might be a little heavy for the one-step paint, but you can do, you know, cottons and damasks and anything with a tight weave. The pattern will still show, but it will be whatever color you decide to paint it. So use a mister to spray the fabric first, paint your coat of paint on, let it dry, sand it a little bit, go back, paint another coat, sand it a little bit, and it will be as soft. It's really quite incredible. It feels almost like an ultra suede. It's so soft and beautiful. Nobody will know you've painted it. Okay. I will continue with this and then we will do the big reveal. Okay, here we go. We turned the plain little brown lamp into a beautiful gray that looks like it's been aged piece of wood with a
easy way to take a lampshade and just add a little something extra to it. So don't forget that you can use your one-step paint for all kinds of good things. And it's not just for pieces of furniture, it's for accessories, it's for fabric, it is for all kinds of goodies. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of the videos. I'm excited to see them myself. So thank you so much again. I'm Mary Corrado from Portland, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.